Hello everyone, this is Global Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. I also want to remind you that some of my video courses are already available. Buy them if you haven't done it yet. I would really appreciate your support. Today we have a guest in the fashion house. It's our mechanic Alexander. Our subscribers often ask me to show how to set up a sewing machine. That's why I invited Alexander here. He will answer some of the current questions and tell you about setting up a sewing machine. You're welcome to ask your questions and comments. Alexander, what are we going to talk about today? One of the most frequent problems is a tension regulator breakage. Sometimes it falls out of the sewing machine. I'm going to tell you how to fix it. It's not hard to do it if you know how to do it. I'll show you everything in detail. Ladies, please be very attentive. We are lucky to have Alexander. When something is broken, we can call him and Alexander fixes everything. However, a lot of tailors do not have an opportunity to call a mechanic, so they have to fix and adjust the sewing machines by themselves. That's why Alexander's recommendations are very important. You often ask me what to do when the regulator falls out. That's why I've decided to show you how to fix it. Alexander, am I right? Sometimes the thread tension is unbalanced. It's not a big problem. You can adjust the tension. How to do it? You need to adjust the tension and make a test seam to check if the tension is accurate or not. I'm going to show you how to fix a thread take-up spring. Please watch me carefully. You've probably already run into a problem when a tension assembly falls out of your sewing machine. I'm going to show you how to fix it. You should not only set it back. First, you need to pull this cup out of the sewing machine. You need to unscrew a bolt to take the cup out. You might even have to use the pliers if it's too tight. Be very careful when doing it. There are such springs in some models. Do not lose them. It's very important. Just put them aside. Have a look at the tension assembly when it's fallen apart. It's also very important not to lose this pin. It controls the tension disc's pressure. When you raise a presser foot, the discs move apart and release the thread. A screw that fixes the start of the tension regulator inside the cup is located here. It's very small. Insert the tension regulator into the cup. It is set tightly. The pin and the cup are on the same level. It is not enough to screw it here. The thread take-up spring should work correctly and tense the thread. It should not hang out, but spring. Unscrew the bolt a little. Insert a screwdriver in the front and spin it clockwise. Watch the way I'm doing it. Thus, I fix the spring inside and strain it. Hold the regulator with your fingers and screw in the bolt. Check if it's accurate with your finger. The spring moves correctly. It is neither too strong nor too weak. It comes back to its initial position easily. After checking the spring, you can thoroughly screw this little bolt. The regulator is ready to be set back into the sewing machine. Do not forget about the pin. When it is pressed, the discs move apart and release the thread. Before inserting the tension assembly, put the spring back into the hole and press it with the regulator. This is how it should be done. It fits tight. Well done. As for the spring position, it should be placed 1 cm above this hook in its upper position. This distance is enough when it starts moving. Do not insert the tension assembly to the bitter end. Check it first. When you raise the presser foot, the discs should move apart by 1 or 2 mm, not more. The regulator will fall out again if they move apart further. Have a look at them. The discs move too much apart. I need to pull the regulator a little out. A bit more. That's it. Well done. The discs move just a little apart. It's enough to release the thread. Now I can fix it with this support screw. Check it once again. When I raise the presser foot, the discs move apart. When I lower the presser foot, the discs move close together. I need to thread the sewing machine and check the work of the thread take-up spring. It's very important to fix it correctly. Have a look here. When I pull the thread, it moves up and down. It is tight. It returns to its original position easily. This is how you can fix the tension assembly when it falls out. I would also like to show you its part and how to assemble them. If you unscrew the thumb nut, the regulator may fall into parts. It's very important to assemble them in the right order. Let me show you how to do it. Have a closer here. The stud and the spring are left in the sewing machine. These are the parts of the tension assembly. You should assemble them in reverse order. First, set the tension discs. The first and the second one. Then, set a jumper washer. It controls the tension discs, their moving apart, and the thread release. It should be intact, with no cracks. It's very important, because if it's broken or absent, the discs won't move apart when you raise the presser foot. The washer is to be set into the slot of the regulator stud. This way. Then you should place the spring with the jumper. However, the jumper is optional. Then put the stop washer. One side of it is notched and the other is smooth. Place it with the notch side out. In this case, the thumb nut will cling to the notches. Then place the thumb nut. Do not screw it too hard. The discs should be pressed. Check the tension discs. They should move apart when you raise the presser foot. You should adjust the thread tension after making a test seam. The thread tension should be balanced. Have a look here. I raised the presser foot and the thread is released. I've adjusted it correctly. The tension assembly was set in accurately. It tenses the thread. Next, I need to thread the sewing machine to make a test seam. Be very attentive. The sewing machine should be turned off when you assemble the tension regulator. It's a must. You can turn it on only when you finish the installation. I can check the result of the adjustment. Have a look here. The stitches on the right side are distinct, but they are not on the wrong side. That means that I need to tense the upper thread. I need to screw the thumb nut clockwise. Thus, the upper part is stronger, and it can pull the lower thread up. The best variant is when the threads wave inside the needle holes. Have a look here once again. The lower thread is still loose. I can see small loops. However, the second seam is better than the first one. I need to screw the thumb nut clockwise once again to tense the upper thread a bit more. Let's make one more test seam. Have a look here. The thread tension is balanced. The texture of this fabric is pretty complicated. It's hard to make a straight seam. Do not pay attention to it. It's important that there are no loops here and the thread tension is balanced. This is the way you can adjust it. Now you know how to do it. It's important to add that the seam quality depends on the type of the fabric. When stitching some fabrics, you may see thread weaving both on the face and the wrong side. In this case, you see not loops, but the weaving itself. The sewing machine cannot make loops on both sides. If there are loops on the both sides, especially when you sew chiffon or other thin fabrics, the only thing you can do is to use a thinner needle and thinner threads. In this case, you will be able to make better seams. If the fabric is strong, the loops can be seen either on the face or on the wrong side, but not on the both sides at once. The adjustment of the thread tension is done. Alexander, thank you for this interesting and useful information. Now you know how to set and adjust the upper thread tension regulator. I hope that the video is helpful. You are welcome to ask your questions, and we'll try to answer them. I think that the other interesting topic for conversation is the cover stitch machine adjustment. Do you like such type of the videos? Please write it in comments if you do. Then we'll ask Alexander to come here more often. We're lucky to know Alexander. He is not just a great professional, but he is also an amazing person. It's always a pleasure when he comes to our fashion house. That's all for today. Be different and beautiful. We're Irina, Paukshte and Alexander. Buy my courses, subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press the like and the bell buttons. We would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.